You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. The JAGD Quartet is one of the leading multi-generational chamber ensembles performing today, and they all happen to be related. To call the Hoebig family talented is putting it lightly. Juliana Moroz, a cellist and top prize winner in a number of festivals and competitions. Her brother, Alexander, a recent graduate magna cum laude from the University of Ottawa, who also sports plenty of impressive accolades and awards. Gwen Hoebig needs little introduction, celebrating 35 years as concertmaster of the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra, and her husband, David, chair of the piano department at the Des Hotels Faculty of Music. If you were keeping track, the first letters of their first names, JAGD, giving the quartet its name, and the G of the ensemble, Gwen, has joined me in studio this morning. Hello.
Good morning, Simon.
Wonderful to see you here, Gwen. And I want to begin this conversation with an admission and an apology. I have been calling you the JAGD Quartet.
Oh, dear.
For years.
Oh, dear.
I feel terrible. And I always thought it was curious because there's nothing too pointy or jagged about your playing unless there needs to be Jagd to play on the German word, right?
Exactly. It means hunt in German. And there are a number of works, not necessarily for piano quartet, that composers have written. And it just seemed to work. We looked at it and went, oh, that's actually probably a very appropriate name for us. So, yes, it means hunt in German. And it happens to be the first letters of all of our names, except our son Alexander goes by Sasha. So it works, but it also is a little bit, you have to dig a little bit to make it work.
You do, but it's very clever. And speaking of clever, you are, as I mentioned in the introduction, a consanguineal chamber ensemble, which is a word I don't use every day, meaning shared blood. You're a family unit. And we've welcomed all members of this family unit into the studio over the years, talking about your various musical endeavors. But it's been tough to coordinate an interview with all four of you, which is, of course, very understandable given how busy you all are. So that has me wondering, how often do you as a family unit get to perform together?
Not very often, and we relish the opportunity to do so. So we're very grateful to the Women's Musical Club for making us, giving us this opportunity. That being said, it's quite the exercise to get us all here.
I can imagine.
Sasha arrived last night. Juliana will arrive late tonight, but in the middle of this week, she has to go to St. Paul, Minneapolis, St. Paul, for her string quartet competition from her school. She has a very successful string quartet that she loves that is in two competitions this spring, this St. Paul Chamber Music Competition and then the Fish-Off Competition, which is a very big deal. So that's in May. And so she's flying all over the place, left, right, and center with a cello. So it's, we have our rehearsal times. We had to schedule them very carefully, and both David and I have had to move students in order to arrange to work together as a family, which seems ridiculous, but that's how our lives work.
That's the way lives work, and all the more reason to relish this opportunity to perform this weekend. And just to catch listeners up, you mentioned Juliana, now I'm losing track of time, finishing her second year at the McDuffie Center for Strings?
No, you're slightly behind.
Am I behind? I'm losing track of time, Gwen, I have to admit.
She is graduating.
Holy moly. Okay, yeah, I'm totally losing track of time. Well, what an accomplishment.
She is graduating. She is top of her class. She's just President's Awards here and all sorts of things. So we're very, very pleased that this is coming finished, and both of the kids will be heading off to Rice in the fall to do their masters.
Oh, how special. They're both off to Rice.
Yes.
Oh, wow. How fascinating. I was going to say, Alexander, Sasha, wrapping up, as I mentioned, at U Ottawa, and I was going to ask about next steps. So, how special is that? You're going to have one place to visit to see them both.
Yeah, and it happens to be where my brother lives, and so makes it even more convenient.
Very, very special.
The thing that I think David and I are most pleased about in some ways is that after 5 years apart, the kids have asked to live together, which, they want their own bathrooms, but...
Understandable.
But they wanted to be close to each other, which is very, very special.
So this weekend, the JAGD Quartet performs as part of the Women's Musical Club of Winnipeg Center Stage Series. And we know of the successes that both Juliana and Alexander have had in WMC competitions and the support that they've received as young artists. I'm wondering, what about you? What's your relationship been like with the WMC?
Well, I'm the only non-Winnipegger, so I don't really have the relationship that the rest of my family does have with that particular organization. I know David's mother, when she was alive, was very active in it for a long time. David was a winner when he was growing up. Both of our kids have won prizes. So I'm sort of the outsider of all of this.
You did have success with the Vancouver Women's
I
Musical
did.
Club, though,
many,
did you not?
Many years ago, yes.
And I mean, it's incredible the support across the country that these organizations have put on for years and years and years. And I think that this is just kind of the latest iteration to have everybody back. Like you say, you're sort of the outsider, but certainly a part of the family. So it must be so special to return to the WMC, given the long history you all have, in a way, had with the organization.
Absolutely. We are, as I said earlier, just so thrilled to be able to do this. And the thing that's really, really interesting about this particular program that we are giving on Sunday is that each member of the family is going to be featured in a solo role. So it will be really fun for our audience to see each member taking, a shining role, and then we will all join together in various configurations.
Well, that leads to my next question, because I was going to ask, I'm curious, you're all such outstanding musicians. I'm wondering about how you selected this program. Is it by committee, or is there one sort of head of the musical family, if you will, when it comes to programs?
Well,
how does that work?
It's definitely David. I mean, he has the most experience doing that, and he is the one who sort of came up with the overall outline. And the Schumann Piano Quartet, we all love to play together. We've played together a number of times, both here and elsewhere. And so that was an obvious choice for us for the second half. And then the first half, I think David came up with the outline, and we sort of discussed it. And like Sasha chose his piece, and Julie chose her piece, and I chose my piece, and David chose his piece, and then we put a couple of other things together around it.
So as you say, a number of different combinations to begin the program: string trios by Dochnani and Schubert, music for violin and piano, viola and piano, and cello and piano by Ravel, Shostakovich, Dvorak, plus some solo piano, as well as a piano trio by Haydn. It must, in addition to be fun to play this music, it must also be nice to kind of take a seat and listen to your family members perform as well, right?
Absolutely. And actually, both David and I recently traveled to hear our kids' final recitals at their respective schools. And so we've already had a sneak preview of both of their solo pieces, because they both played them on their recitals, and they are fabulous.
And then in the back half of the program, you already alluded to this, a performance of some Robert Schumann, from his so-called Year of Chamber Music 1842, the piano quartet in E-flat major. Can you tell us a little bit more about this particular work, Gwen? It's one, as you say, that you've performed before.
We've performed it a lot, and it's extra special performing it as a family, because it really is a piece all about love. And especially the slow movement is just so incredible, because it's a series of duets between the different members in the group. And to be able to sort of turn to my son, and there's a couple of really special moments between the violin and viola where we're switching notes off in semitones, and it's just so cool the way he's able to put this together. So it gives us just a chance to be able to work with our offspring and our my husband in just such a memorable and personal way that it's just a wonderful experience.
You can really feel the love in this piece of music, and it is a sort of consanguineal word. To use the word again, I'm trying here, Gwen. I'm trying, but it's another sort of work in that it was written for his wife Clara, right? You can really feel the love in this.
Absolutely, you can hear the love, and the slow movement especially is just so incredible. And then the cello has to tune its C string down to a B flat, and it just gives the cello this incredible resonance.
Yeah.
That not that the cello doesn't have an incredible
it's got such a richness
resonance
already.
Anyway,
yeah.
But you put this down to this low B flat, and you just sink into that. It's just such an amazing resonance and feeling.
So the performance this Sunday, April 30th, 2 p.m. at WAG Hamayark, the Muriel Richardson Auditorium, the final concert in the Women's Musical Club of Winnipeg Center Stage Series. Thanks so much for joining me this morning, Gwen.
Simon, it's always a pleasure.